Here with Northwestern State baseball coach Bobby Barbier. The Demons return home for their final 4 home games of the season, starting with Tuesday night's game against Grambling, 6 o'clock first pitch. And Coach, anytime you can go on the road, especially a long trip like this, and come back with, I know you don't like them, series wins, though you get 2 out of 3, that's got to be a good feeling. Even better to get back home, kind of get back in a little routine.
It was a good weekend. You know, it was great to see us win games in different ways, you know, than we're used to winning them. You know, we scored quite a few runs this weekend. We had a good comeback in the first game when we fell behind. We got the lead, and we fell back behind, and we came up with some big hits late in the game to win it. So it was good to see 2 relievers that hadn't pitched a whole lot in the weekend that have been good for us in the middle of the week, in McDonald and Hodo. Those guys come in when the conference game's on the line. That's going to do great things for those guys moving forward. So really good weekend. Proud of the way we competed.
You took a step closer to getting into the conference tournament. Again, as you mentioned, those 2 guys, hitters the same way, got different guys stepping up. The top 3 guys in the order don't get a hit in Sunday's game, and you still put together an 11-hit performance thanks to the 4 through 9 guys.
Yeah, you know, and that's what you need, you know. And in our game, it's hard to, be the guy every single day. You know, we've had some guys that have done it the majority of the season. So it's good to see some of those other guys, some of those guys getting new opportunities from injuries and other things where guys aren't playing, to step up and really contribute for us. I thought Cheney Dodge did a great job. He made a great play there in the 8th that kind of, you know, squashed the rally for them. And, you know, Peyton Davis came through with a few big knocks. So it's guys, it's really, it makes you proud as a coach to see guys step up that put in the work but don't necessarily get the opportunities that some other guys have gotten throughout the year.
I know that play that Cheney made had to feel a little bit familiar for you, kind of just on the other end of the diamond, but very Bobby Barbier-esque.
Yeah, I was a chest it up and throw them out kind of guy, or toss them out kind of guy. It's hard to play other positions that way. You can play first that way.
Well, you mentioned guys that get opportunities, and the midweek tends to be a time for some of those guys to maybe get a few more at-bats or a few more innings, and I know that's probably what you'll see Tuesday night against Grambling.
Yeah, we'll throw a bunch of guys that need work, a bunch of guys that we're going to count on in the conference tournament, you know, and late in the season. Guys like Robert Burke, you know, that hadn't been out there a little bit. Austin Wright, Evan Daigle, those guys that have done pretty well. We just have other guys kind of in front of them a little bit, and if these guys can do it 2 or 3 outings in a row, then we know we'll be able to count on them here in the conference tournament.
You just saw the leading hitting team in the Southland Conference in terms of average across all games this season. You're going to face a Grambling team that not far off offensively from what you saw from UIW.
No, I think they'll be really good. I mean, I saw that they played Arkansas tight. We really hadn't got a chance to get all our information on them, but they'll be a good team. You know, they do a good job over there. They do a good job recruiting and getting their guys to play a good quality brand of baseball. So it'll be a tough game for us tomorrow. We better come out ready to play in order to win it.
And again, it's one of those things that you can't overlook anybody. You can look and say, okay, you beat a team from that conference pretty bad last time you played them, but a different team, a different set of circumstances.
Yeah, it'll be a different team, and that's why we try to preach things the way we preach them. You know, the one day at a time. I'm worried about batting practice. You know, that's what I'm worried about right now. You know, for Grambling and how we're going to come out ready to play for that. So it's if you can truly have that mentality every time, the other team doesn't matter a whole bunch. You know, it matters how we play. This midweek, next week's midweek, a conference series, all these games matter. If we can truly continue to foster that mindset, we'll be a much better baseball team for it.
You'll have a little different mindset, I imagine, this weekend. Not only your last home series, but a chance, if everything goes right, you could clinch a conference tournament berth, which I know you'd like to have in hand before you go to UNO the final week of the season. But it's also the final homestand for 4 seniors and 4 guys who have meant a lot to this program. And I know coming into this weekend, you're going to have to balance emotions versus the typical emotions of a game.
Yeah, it's different every year. You know, I mean, you have seniors, and we lose them every year, and but each one means something a little different to you. You know, and these guys are no different. Everybody wants to talk a lot about the new guys that we brought into the program to change it this year, to have this kind of the turnaround that we've had. But those guys have put us on their backs. I mean, with Quan and Dave and Kelsey catching 27 innings in about 24 hours. You know, and obviously Dan and what he's done out of the bullpen. Those guys have been the guys that led the charge, that teach these new guys how we want to play. and how we want to act. So we are in debt to them, and our program is in debt to them, and it's going to be a good send-off for those guys.
Anecdotally, I mean, when you think about it, Kelsey's a guy that actually, since you came back, he was here when you came back. That's a fifth-year guy that we talked about it before the season, had chances to leave, and he's made a big difference in several games, including Friday, or the first game of the doubleheader at UIW, the home run to put you ahead after catching 9 innings in pretty warm weather. So he's certainly had his moments and been that guy you guys could count on.
No doubt, and he's you know, in the day and age of leaving, right? I mean, that's what college sports is about. If I don't play, I go home and go find somewhere else where I can play. Kelsey has been the epitome of sticking it out, you know, and I know he redshirted his second year here, you know. I mean, he got 10 at-bats the year before I came and redshirted his second year, you know, and he had every opportunity to go find somewhere else, but he stuck through it, and he's become a major contributor to a good baseball team this year.
Danny Halad, one of those JUCO guys, and the saying tends to be you're going to get one good year out of a JUCO guy because he'll be a junior, and if he's good, he'll get drafted. Danny, I think one of those guys you talked about, you know, change it's been the mantra. Certainly performance-wise, from one year to the next, he's grown by leaps and bounds.
Yeah, leaps and bounds. And some guys are just so important to your team in terms of wins and losses, and having Dan to play every role as a pitcher, you know, that we need him to play. I mean, he started a game, he'll come in the third, he'll close it in the ninth. Every team needs a guy like that you can count on to play a bunch of different roles. He doesn't complain about arm soreness. He doesn't complain about it not pitching for a week because it doesn't call for it. I mean, he always comes up to me before the game and says, "Coach, I'm ready if you need me." He could have thrown 70 pitches the day before or hadn't thrown in 2 weeks. So you need guys like that, you know, and he's been that guy for us. He's a big reason for our success.
I think every time, probably since early March, when Patrick Netherton's done a game, he's called Quan Atkins probably the best story in the Southland Conference this year in terms of baseball. And I think the improvement he's shown, and it obviously shows up on the stat sheet, but I think the improvement that he's shown and what he's brought to this club this year, and really just the past 3 years, the learning experiences, there probably isn't a better story you can write than the senior season he's had.
No, probably not. You know, he's another one that it just doesn't always come easy for everybody. You know, it doesn't always come start your freshman year, and not all David Fry stories. You know, I mean, it's some guys take different routes, and that's okay too. You know, if they stick with it and they understand, you know, what they are capable of, if they stick it out. And Quan, you know, he came to my office at the end of last year and talked about wanting to play football this semester, and you know, gave him my blessing and that if he wanted to do it. And to be honest, me thinking in the back of my mind was, well, we really need to work on baseball, but it's something that was on his heart, so he did it, and it was the best thing he could have done, I think. To get away from it for a little bit, to go out and be an athlete and something else. I mean, he played a bunch of snaps at wide receiver for us, and to come back kind of with a fresh start, and he really bought in to what Coach Dugas and him worked on a bunch early in the spring of trying to hit the ball more middle the other way, and it shows, and it's very, very happy for him, very proud of him for what he's done for our team. His defense was always there, but now that he can hit the top of the lineup and drive in runs and score runs, it's made us a better team.
Did you hold your breath during football season, though, when he caught one of those inside screens?
Yeah, nah, he's a big physical guy. I think he can handle himself.
You touched on it, the final senior, David Fry. I mean, when people look back, when his career is done, they'll see the numbers, they'll see the records. He's got one. He's, I believe, 15 or so at-bats away from passing Brandon Morgan in at-bats, so he'll leave with at least 2 school records, if not more, career records. Got a shot to, he is double Dave. He's knocking on the door of the single-season double record, but I know his impact for you and for that locker room goes way past numbers.
Yeah, it's been 4 years of what you want the model player to be. You know, it's come to work every day, get your stuff in, no drama off the field. Great guy, you know, great guy in the clubhouse, and his performance just, you can speak for itself. I mean, he's been consistent. He's been accountable. We can always count on him to deliver when we need it, and it's been really fun to watch. I mean, I've been around Demon baseball a long time. I don't know if there'll be a better hitter that has come through this program. I think his numbers kind of speak for that. So he gets all the credit that he's getting and the awards that he'll get afterwards. He definitely deserves them. Very happy for Dave.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.